line.
Oh my gosh, that was so epic.
I think that's it. There he is. You guys ready? Let's pull it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh. Hey! And JB's on there! 600! 600! Yes! Yay! 600 mile time. That would be just... So here we are, back with the real supercharger. Okay, we are on the test track.
So I'd recommend putting your head on the headrest.
Okay.
There he's ready. Nope.
Yep. Oh, there it goes. Oh, that never gets old either. We have the post-study production cars here.
Wait, what?
Yeah, oh yeah, you watch it.
Well, why is he gonna throw it?
I don't know, but we're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
He just used a sledgehammer. What?
Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
I'm Eric, otherwise known as Derek, here in Shanghai at Gigafactory 3.
Ballapalooza. It's like tricks.
3, 2, 1.
Will it wipe is the big question of the day.
Will it wipe?
Generic cornflakes.
Whoa! It's raining cornflakes! Oh. This is trippy. Look, there's nothing here. Psych.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. We thought we would fool you a little bit. But anyway, we're back.
Yes, I'm David. This is Eric, and together we're Derek, and we're here to talk about Tesla stuff again. It's been a while.
It's been a hot minute, and we've just had a lot going on. We have a kid now.
Yeah.
Not officially our kid.
Yeah, but we got a 15-year-old.
But we got a 15-year-old that lives in the house.
He keeps us pretty busy.
Yep. Real quick though, can I get like a thumbs up in chat if everything looks okay? Because it's a little rusty. I don't want to mess anything up. I double checked all the settings and everything appeared to be working correctly still, which is impressive. But if everything is working good on your end, if you want to just throw a thumbs up in the chat so I can make sure that we're good. But yeah, it's been a hot minute. So super excited to be back. We almost did live stream last week, but we were like, hey, the Q4 is coming up. Let's just start it off with Q4 and continue it going from there. So starting every Sunday, we'll be lives again. They might only be like an hour or two, and we might miss one or two if we're out of town. But we're gonna try to like continue doing that at a better pace.
Get back into it and kind of just keep up to date on what's new in the world of Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
a lot's changed.
A lot's changed in the past, few months since we did
A lot has
it.
changed.
I mean, as we saw, they sold a lot in Q4, and that's what we're here for today. They had record sales, 1.3 million vehicles, more than that.
Yep.
And tons of increased production and the gigafactories there in Austin and also in Berlin. So lots of things. And then, of course, the big price drops, which came just a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And so, while that's good news for others, a lot of people were really upset with that.
Yeah. And so, I mean, rightfully so, but I guess kind of the way I view it is I don't like to necessarily dwell on anything negative. I like to look at the positive. And for me, the positive is that many more people can now afford a Tesla. So I'm super happy about that. Sorry, let me put you there. And David will be in chat. If you're new to our live streams, once the Tesla live stream goes up, we will all tune into that. That will be here, and then we will be in the corner, like right here. And we will be muted during that time, but we love chatting with you guys during that live stream and talking about what they're talking about. So David will be on the keyboard talking in chat, especially when that goes on. So if you hear anything, you see anything, whatever you want to talk about too, we can just do it down there so we don't interrupt the live stream. But before that live stream happens, which is an ETA of 11 minutes, I want to go over their update and everything that they released. But first off, we're gonna see, we'll be down here. The Tesla Twitter account has been a lot more active since Elon's bought Twitter. Just saying. But they kind of broke everything down just real quick, bullet by bullet here, which is great. It's kind of doing our job for us, so we love that. But in 2022, they produced and delivered 1.3 million vehicles. If you would have told anybody that in 2013, 2014, when the S was just starting to roll.
Yeah, that's just one quarter they did that much.
I know. It's absolutely crazy. In Q4, they achieved the highest ever quarterly revenue, operating income, and net income, pretty much everything. So Tesla is doing great. And we also keep our stock ticker up here. Currently, we haven't dipped yet.
Yeah. And it's
So that's impressive because normally by now we're already in the dip.
yeah.
Just saying.
But it's still way down from like 6 months ago.
Okay, good point. Good point.
It's dropped like 2/3, but at least it's back up a little bit from its low of a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
But yeah, not the best on the stock price. Hopefully, things start going back up.
Yep. Also, both Texas and Berlin achieved production of 3,000 Model Ys in a week. A huge milestone for the teams at both those factories. Hats off to you. Congrats if that is you. And also, they produced enough in-house 4680 cells to make 1,000 battery packs in 1 week. Still very, very low.
Yeah.
But it's still a good milestone.
Compared to the number of cars they produce, that's pretty low, but it's good that they've ramped up that much. And of course, the Semi came out last month.
Yep. Next up, Shanghai continues to be the main export hub. We actually have a really good friend, I don't know if she's here in chat today, from Australia, and she actually just took delivery of her Model 3, and I think they're also going to be ordering a Model Y now. Oh, wow. So congrats to any of you, especially Australia. I know you've waited a very, very long time for a lot of vehicles. They should be flowing in more steadily now. And Shanghai is one of the big reasons for that. They now have released FSD beta to nearly, love that asterisk.
Not everyone.
All customers in the US and Canada who bought FSD, approximately 400,000 minus us.
At least a few, yeah.
We still have so the Model X I paid for full self-driving on, whether or not it was a smart money decision, whatever, it's done. So we actually have FSD beta on that. The Model S, we didn't purchase it on the 2022, which actually we're selling, 82,000 if anyone's interested. And the 2017 Model S, that was my second Tesla.
And it was my second Tesla too.
And your second Tesla too. And
now it's Scott's second Tesla.
Wow. That one actually had FSD beta purchased on it long, long ago. And still doesn't have beta yet because it needs a camera update, but
Well, we did the camera update. Was it last
right,
year
yeah.
or was it a year and a half
Yeah,
ago?
I think it was a year and a half
remember.
ago.
And I think it was last year, like last June. But they didn't put in the correct cameras. It
Right.
came back with the exact same cameras that we dropped it off with. So I don't know what they did. But anyways, I think they changed the triple camera, but they didn't change the repeaters or the B pillar cameras. Anyhow, we have scheduled another camera replacement. This time they're going to actually come out and do it, at home. So Tesla Mobile Service will be out here on Monday. And so perhaps within days, Scott's car will finally have the full self-driving beta, which we've only been waiting like 6 years for, but it might be there.
But also, if y'all want to talk about price drops and how stuff stings, for a 2017 Tesla Model S long range, we're not talking ludicrous or any of that.
S100D.
With carbon fiber interior, because that was a separate option, white seats, and what was the other option I got? FSD. I think that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
Because I got the base wheels and everything. I paid $117,000 for that vehicle.
Yeah.
And if you look at what 117K will get you now, it's crazy.
And then you compare it to like the 2022 Model S long range that I got, which does have carbon fiber, thanks to Eric's handy, swapping out the parts there. Anyways, that car was much less.
Yeah.
And it's a much better car. So yeah, it's, I do definitely understand how some people are upset with the price drops. The same thing happened to us back in 2019.
Oh yeah, it's happened to us on many vehicles.
We bought the Model X, our first Model X, and then within days, I think the
Raven came out.
The Raven
and
came
it was
out.
$10K cheaper.
Yeah, so they dropped the price and came out with the Raven, and so that was unfortunate. But we sold that car to a good purchaser, but who
Nothing like being a billionaire.
yeah. But we're really pleased with our current Model X. It's amazing. The X that we got now is better and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And so they're continuing to lower the prices, and of course they did increase the prices last year, as we saw, all across the
board.
automotive market, raising it, and prices of used cars going up as well. And it's good that Tesla at least has temporarily lowered the price, and of course it's probably because of the tax credit, the federal tax credit.
Yes.
I guess they're doing it worldwide, but
Yeah.
especially in the United States, the federal tax credit might change here come April. So by lowering the prices now, more of those vehicles are
Eligible.
eligible.
And the cool thing is Tesla, and we'll see it in the slide deck, Tesla has the profit margins to be able to lower their vehicles a little bit and severely undercut any competition.
Yeah.
Anyone coming to market now crap themselves when they saw that price cut, because it was pretty substantial
It was
on quite
big
a few
surprise,
models.
Yeah, and we did see it in like China, and it just kind of made its way around the world. They kept lowering the prices, but wow, it was a big drop when they did it. So, again, good for people who haven't purchased yet. And again, it maybe doesn't hurt the people. I guess it might hurt somewhat if you intend to sell your car or you're trying to buy it and resell it. But people, they got what they paid for. But yeah, it hurts.
Yeah, we're right there with you, trust.
Yeah, we've
understand.
been there too.
Real quick though, because we have about 4 minutes left until the official call starts. Energy storage deployments increased by 152% year over year. That's great. The event music is bleeding through a little bit.
Oh, there it is. Now I hear it.
Oh, is it? Oh, it is.
Whoops.
Okay. Thank you for that, because last thing we want to do is just get taken off YouTube on our first day back. Thanks, AO. Appreciate that. Let's see. I think that was basically it for what they said on
but also
Twitter.
good news is they did announce they're going to do some major expansion at the Gigafactory in
That's the big
Reno,
news, yes.
in Nevada, and that's something that we've been waiting like six and a half years on that, because when they first announced it, how big it was, and they kind of built it out a little bit, but they never finished.
But like this part right here, almost half of it,
it hasn't been built yet.
at least a third of it was never built, and so now that it's being built, it's another $3.6 billion they're putting into addition, along with the employees, everything
like over
else.
3,000 new jobs.
Dedicated 4680 lines.
And semis production as well, like high volume semi production. So it's nice that they are finally ramping up semi. It took a few years, over 5 years, but at least they're finally there, and they have a good product.
Now that they're there, they can work on the Roadster. Tesla give you permission to announce it. I don't think that's going to happen tonight, but hopefully we hear something about CyberTruck Even like, because the rumor mill here, so take it for what it is maybe they'll start up this summer, potentially in June or July. We'll be there in no time.
That would be nice. Yeah, that's only a few months away.
So, as soon as I guess we get our Cybertruck Rivian for sale,
But we gotta keep it. We gotta keep it for a few weeks. Do some comparison videos and stuff like. We are pretty pleased with the Rivian.
Very happy.
It's still a great vehicle.
We actually have a video that will be hopefully coming out maybe next week. We have some product videos coming out first, but then kind of cumulative what we've been happy with and what we don't like about the Rivian. But overall, I'd say it's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess we're like ETA 2 minutes. So I'll just kind of put this here so that we're ready for it. Oh, and then we can go. Now let's see. So we dipped a little bit after hours, although I did see it did jump up to almost 150.
Oh, wow.
But then it kind of fell back a little bit.
Yeah, I think it was up there yesterday, but then it kind of went back down. But, yeah.
Yep. But as soon as the call starts, we will be muted. So if you want to talk about what's going on, put it in chat, and David will be manning the keyboard, and we can put it there. If you haven't yet, I recommend getting some snacks, because that's what we always like to do during these. So we have some chips. We have some Sour Patch Kids. Get your snacks ready. We have our mugs. We are hydrated. I do still have that bottle over there, but maybe we'll see what gets announced, is if it's celebration worthy. But really appreciate everyone joining in. Oh God, I wish we had Oreos, Diego. That would have been a good idea. I miss Oreos. Really appreciate everyone joining in. I know it's been a while. I certainly apologize. But we just had some stuff going on. And Abstract Ocean just inhaled a crumble cookie. That sounds delicious. We actually just had some like over the weekend.
Yeah. And they didn't last long. Yeah.
They never do last long in this house.
Especially with a 15-year-old now. He helped to eat a few of those. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, we've just been staying busy. We had a good holiday. Hopefully all you have as well. Hopefully 2023 is treating you well.
Did some travel. We were actually out of the country for Christmas, and we've been keeping busy and doing a lot of road trips and stuff for the last few months. So kind of winding down here in the winter months, not doing as much, but that's where we're hoping to be back online here with you guys.
Yep. So hopefully regular videos starting back up very, very shortly too. We've got a lot of stuff being filmed and everything like that. Some new product videos, some kind of like how Rivian's been treating us, how the new Tesla's treating us, kind of videos. So some cool stuff coming in. Some stuff I'm still waiting on parts for. Tesla, I ordered some parts many, many months ago and still haven't received anything. So some of those videos are still delayed due to parts issues. Diego says, when are we coming to the Grand Canyon?
If we have time for a road trip, I don't know.
I don't know.
We have a couple. Well, we can't announce everything in this video because some trips are known and some trips are still
a secret.
Well, wait a minute. Maybe I just let some slip by saying there's.
Anyway, moving on. Thank you, Diego. Jason, Abstract Ocean, when are those rear camera cameras back in stock? Will Derek have a video on that? Yes, I will. When they come back in stock, I'm going to leave that up to AO. Let's see. Jim, thank you so much for the...
$4.99. Thanks, Jim.
I had to find my confetti button because it's been so long. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Really appreciate that. Said, miss you guys. Good to see you. Say hi to the pups. They're actually right here. The dog cam has been dismantled for now. No. We need to redo it. I'm trying to like figure out how all this area is going to work out in the future because we really like this up here for when we do the lives. But we will be putting the dog cam back up. I promise. Let's see. Terry said, my wife has lasagna in the oven. Does that count? Yes. It actually sounds delicious. Abstract Ocean said late March probably. Trying to get them in faster. The next delivery will be much larger. Demand was a little unexpected. So soon. Definitely, I believe on their page you can actually sign up to be alerted when they come back in stock.
Yeah.
I believe that's right on that page. AO, just correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw it on that page. So definitely sign up for that so you're notified when they come back in. And I'll also tweet about it. So once they're back in stock, if you follow my Twitter, I'll tweet when they go back in.
I just had an idea. We should get some like disco lights or something. Or some,
I know with this music.
Some lights and have like and all that stuff whenever we're sitting here waiting because just continue.
Too bad it's inside. We should do some like live streams in the garage or slightly outside so we can do the flamethrower.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Jason said I missed the first alert the first time around.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. They did go very, very quick. So yeah. But yeah, like AO said, the next shipment will be a lot more. So yep, there's a notify option too. They did confirm it.
Good afternoon and welcome everyone.
Oh, okay. Here we are. So we're gonna talk and chat.
VP of Investor Relations, and I'm joined today by Elon Musk, Zachary Kirkhorn, and a number of other executives. Our Q4 results were announced at about 3 p.m. Central Time in the update deck we published at the same link as this webcast. During this call, we will discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Actual events or results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our most recent filings with the SEC. During the question and answer portion of today's call, please limit yourself to one question and one follow-up. Please use the raise hand button to join the question queue. But before we jump into Q&A, Elon has some opening remarks. Elon?
Thank you, Martin. So just going through a 22 recap. It was a fantastic year for Tesla. It was our best year ever on every level. The team did an amazing job. It's an honor, of course, to work with such an incredibly talented group of people. So in 2022, we delivered over 1.3 million cars and achieved a 17% operating margin, the highest among any volume car maker. I think maybe among any car maker. While doing so, we generated $12.5 billion in net income and $7.5 billion in free cash flow. Importantly, the Tesla team achieved these records despite the fact that 2022 was an incredibly challenging year due to forced shutdowns, very high interest rates, and many delivery challenges. So it's worth noting that all these records were in the face of massive difficulties. A credit to the team for achieving that. The most common question we've been getting from investors is about demand. Thus far, so I want to put that concern to rest. Thus far in January, we've seen the strongest orders year to date than ever in our history. We currently are seeing orders at almost twice the rate of production. So I mean that's hard to say whether that will continue at twice the rate of production, but the orders are high, and we've actually raised the Model Y price a little bit in response to that. So we think demand will be good despite probably a contraction in the automotive market as a whole. Basically, price really matters. I think there's just a vast number of people that want to buy a Tesla car, but can't afford it, and so these price changes really make a difference for the average consumer. It's sometimes for people who are have a lot of money, they sort of forget about how important affordability is. And it's always been our goal at Tesla to make cars that are affordable to as many people as possible. So I'm glad that we're able to do so. So I think it's a good thing, all things considered. We're also making very good progress on cost control, and we're seeing the costs of production in Berlin and Austin drop commensurate with the growth in production, so as you'd expect. So, with respect to Autopilot, as of now, we deployed full self-driving beta for city streets to roughly 400,000 customers in North America. This is a huge milestone for autonomy, as FSD beta is the only way any consumer can actually test the latest AI-powered autonomy. And we're currently at about 100 million miles of FSD outside of highways. And our published data shows that improvement in safety statistics is very clear. We would not have released the FSD beta if the safety statistics were not excellent. Regarding batteries, production rate of 4680 cells reached 1,000 cars a week at the end of last year, and we're increasing capacity for 4680 cells by another 100 gigawatt hours, as announced at Giga Nevada yesterday. Our long-term goal is to get to well in excess of 1,000 gigawatt hours of cells produced internally, and continue to use other cell providers. So to be clear, we will continue to use other cell providers, just that the demand for lithium-ion batteries is quasi-infinite and will be for quite some time. So we feel we can scale a lot faster using both suppliers and internally produced cells. And we've got an amazing plan for making the 4680 cell low cost and high energy density. So energy storage also saw record growth, and that is continuing to accelerate. That's always worth remembering that the three pillars of a sustainable energy future are obviously electric vehicles, solar and wind, and then the third key item is stationary storage to store the energy from solar and wind, because obviously the sun doesn't shine all the time and the wind doesn't blow all the time. So if you have those three things, you can convert all of Earth to a fully sustainable situation, many times over, actually. So I would like to just make it clear that there is a path to a fully sustainable future for humanity, and our goal at Tesla is to accelerate progress on that path as much as humanly possible. So so we're obviously ramping up Megapack production, and we expect it to grow at a rate quite a bit faster than our vehicle output. So in conclusion, we're taking a view that we want to keep making and selling as many cars as we can. We believe we can keep pushing for strong volume growth while retaining the industry's best operating margins. As we mentioned many times before, we want to be the best manufacturer. But really, manufacturing technology will be our most important long-term strength. So, and we'll talk more about our upcoming plans at the March 1st Investor Day. And lastly, I want to once again thank all of our employees for delivering another record-breaking year. Congratulations, guys.
Thanks, Elon. And I think Zach has some opening remarks as well.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. So as Elon mentioned, 2022 was a terrific year for Tesla. I also want to congratulate the Tesla team and also say a thank you to our suppliers for your support during quite a volatile year. On a full year basis, revenue increased over 50%, operating income doubled, free cash flows increased over 50%, and our margins remained industry leading. Additionally, we continue to make progress on overhead efficiencies as non-GAAP OPEX as a percentage of revenue improved further. For Q4 specifically, sequential and annual margin was impacted by ASP reductions as we were managing through COVID impacts in China, uncertainty around the consumer tax credit in the US, and a rising interest rate environment. Note that in 2022, rising interest rates alone had effectively increased the price of our cars in the US by nearly 10%. Additionally, COGS per unit has increased on a year-over-year basis, driven primarily by three factors. First is raw materials and inflation led by lithium prices and discussed at length in previous calls. Second, we are working through the early ramp of inefficiencies of our Austin and Berlin and in-house cell production factories. Third, our vehicle mix over the last year has moved more heavily towards Model Y, which carries a slight cost premium to Model 3. Partially offsetting these impacts, we've continued to execute on Tesla controllable cost reductions in line with the progress we've made in prior years. These improvements include our continued work to gradually move towards a regionally balanced build of vehicles. The energy business had its strongest year yet across all metrics, led by steady improvement in both retail and commercial storage. While much work remains to grow this business and improve cost, we believe we are on a good trajectory. As we look towards 2023, we're moving forward aggressively, leveraging our strength and cost. There are 3 key points I wanted to make here. First, on demand, as Elon mentioned, customer interest in our products remains high. Second, on cost reduction, we're holding steady on our plans to rapidly increase volume while improving overhead efficiency, which is the most effective method to retain strength in our operating margins. In particular, we're accelerating improvements in our new factories in Austin, Berlin, and in-house cells, where inefficiencies are the highest. But we are attacking every other area of cost and unwinding cost increases created from multiple years of COVID-related instability. This includes logistics, expedites, accumulation of material buffers, part premiums, productivity, and overheads, as an example. As the world transitions from an inflationary to deflationary environment, we expect a strong partnership with our suppliers on this journey as well. In net, we've priced our products with a view towards a longer-term cost structure. Thus, there will be an impact on operating margin in the near term. However, we believe our margins will remain healthy and industry-leading over the course of the year. Third, we are continuing to ensure funding is prioritized for our long-term roadmap. This includes expanding in-house cell production, bringing CyberTruck to market, development of our next-generation vehicle platform, expansion of our manufacturing footprint, and growth of the energy business. We're looking forward to discussing these plans in more detail on our Investor Day in a month. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zach. Let's now go to investor questions. The first question is, some analysts are claiming that Tesla orders net of cancellations came in at a rate less than half of production in the fourth quarter. This has raised demand concerns. Can you elaborate on order trends so far this year and how they compare to current production rates? I think
we've already answered that question.
Yes, exactly.
The demand far exceeds production. And we actually are making some small price increases as a result.
Thank you. The second question is in similar vein. What is the initial reaction been to global price reductions in early 1Q 2023, specifically in terms of order intake levels? We've answered that one as well.
Yeah.
So let's go to the next one. The next investor question is, will Tesla be able to take full advantage of advanced manufacturing production credits for battery cells packs? So $3,700 per long-range Model 3 and Model Y, it's $45 a kilowatt hour. For autos and energy products, and how much does Tesla expect to earn in the coming year from these credits?
I'll say a little bit about it, then I think Zach will add some. Long term, we expect these the value of these credits to be very significant. You can do the math. If we were to get anywhere near 1,000 gigawatt hours a year of production, or even a few hundred gigawatt hours, it's very significant. So, but the credits do rely upon domestic manufacturing, and in the case of Panasonic with domestic manufacturing, we're splitting the value of the credits. So the value of the credits this year will not be gigantic, but I think it could be gigantic in the future. We think it probably will be very significant in the future.
Yeah, just to add and put some boundaries on what we're expecting in terms of impact to Tesla for this year. So different products we think will get different amounts of credit. The regulations here are still in flux and there continues to be updates. So this is just our best understanding at the moment. But we think on the order of 150 million to 250 million per quarter this year, and growing over the course of the year as our volumes grow. And part of the work we're doing here, which is part of what this incentive package is trying to incentivize, is, as Elon mentioned, to move more manufacturing onshore in the United States, which is Tesla's plans anyways. And so I think we're pretty well positioned over the coming years to take advantage of this. But then also, part of what the goal of this incentive package is to improve adoption from our customers. And so we also want to use these incentives to improve affordability as we think about what the price points are on our products going forward. And so as we were thinking about our pricing changes in the US a couple of weeks ago that we announced, we were looking at what the credit benefit to Tesla would be to make sure that customers are able to receive the benefit not only from this that we're receiving to some extent, but also on the consumer-facing side, which is currently $7,500 per car of tax credit, assuming that subject to the MSRP caps and the income caps. So we want to use this to accelerate sustainable energy, which is our mission and also the goal of this bill.
Thank you very much. The next question from investors is, after recent price cuts, analysts released expectations that Tesla automotive gross margin excluding leasing and credits will drop below 20%, an average selling price around $47,000 across all models. Where do you see average selling price and gross margins after the price cuts?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll jump in on this. So, there's certainly a lot of uncertainty about how the year will unfold, but I'll share what's in our current forecast for the moment. So, based upon these metrics here, we believe that we'll be above, both of the metrics that are stated in the question. So 20% automotive gross margin, excluding leases and red credits, and then 47K ASP across all models. And so, two other comments I want to make on this, just tactically on sequential ASP changes from Q4 to Q1. Just as a reminder, the ASP reduction is not as large as the reduction in configurator prices. As in Q4, we had backlog customers that we're delivering cars to at a lower price book, given that backlogs had been so long for so much of 2022. But then also there are various programs in place that we used in Q4 that lowered ASPs. The second comment I wanted to make here is that, as a management team here, we're most focused on what our operating margin is. And so, as other areas of the business become more important, particularly the energy business, which is growing faster than the vehicle business, and as we're heavily focused on operating leverage here, improving efficiency of our overheads, we think the right metric for us to be focused on is operating margin. And so I wanted to make sure that I shared that with the investor community as well, because that is what we're primarily managing to now.
Yes, something that I think some of the smart retail investors understand, but I think a lot of others maybe don't, is that every time we sell a car, it has the ability just from uploading software to have full self-driving enabled, and the full self-driving is obviously getting better very rapidly. That's actually a tremendous upside potential, because all of those cars, with a few exceptions, I mean, only a small percentage of cars don't have hardware 3. So that means that there's millions of cars where full self-driving can be sold at essentially 100% gross margin, and the value of FSD grows as the autonomous capability grows, and then when it becomes fully autonomous, that is a value increase in the fleet that might be the biggest asset value increase of anything in history. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's go to the next investor question. Since Elon started political influencing, polls from Morning Consult and YouGov show Tesla brand
you can crush them with your life.
Show Tesla brand favorability declining in 2022 and division among partisan lines. Such brand damage can impact demand. Does Tesla track favorability, and how will any brand damage be mitigated?
Well, let me check my Twitter account. Okay, so I've got 127 million followers. It continues to grow very rapidly. That suggests that I'm, reasonably popular. I might not be popular with some people, but for the vast majority of people, the follow account speaks for itself. On the most interactive account, social media account, I think maybe in the world, certainly on Twitter. And that actually predated the Twitter acquisition. So I think Twitter is actually an incredibly powerful tool for driving demand for Tesla. And I would really encourage companies out there of all kinds, automotive or otherwise, to make more use of Twitter, and to use their Twitter accounts in ways that are interesting and informative, entertaining, and it will help them drive sales, just as it has with Tesla. So the net value of Twitter, apart from a few people are complaining, is gigantic, obviously.
Thank you. Let's go to the next question. Please provide a detailed explanation of where you are on the 4680 ramp. What are the current roadblocks, and when do you expect to scale to 10,000 vehicles a week?
Yeah, thanks, Martin. First, I just want to say congrats and thanks to the Tesla 4680 team for achieving 1K a week in Q4. It was no small feat. Definitely a result of, more than a couple of years of hard work. As far as where we stand in Texas, 1 of 4 lines are in production, with the remaining 3 in stages of commissioning and install. Really, our 2023 goal as a 4680 team is to deliver a cost-effective ramp of 4680s well ahead of CyberTruck. Focus areas are dialing in and improving the quality of the high-volume supply of mechanical parts and driving factory process yields up as much as possible. Between the two of those things, if we achieve those key goals, we'll be well set up for a major 4680 year in 2024.
Thank you. Next investor question is, Elon said previously that FSD Hardware 4 will most likely come first in Cybertruck. Is that still the current plan? Do you expect there to be an upgrade path for Hardware 3 cars to Hardware 4?
Yeah, Cybertruck will have Hardware 4, and typically, for 2023, Cybertruck will not be, a significant contributor to the bottom line, but it will be in next year. So it's an incredible product. I can't wait to drive it personally. It will be the car that I drive every day. Actually, I'm wearing the T-shirt with the smashed glass. It's just one of those products that only comes along once in a while, and it's really special. So, yeah. So, with respect to upgrading cars that have Hardware 3, I don't think that will be needed. Hardware 3 will not be as good as Hardware 4, but I'm confident that Hardware 3 will still far exceed the safety of the average human. So what we're aiming for is how do we get ultimately to, let's say for argument's sake, if Hardware 3 can be, say, 200 or 300% safer than human, Hardware 4 might be, 500 or 600%. There will be a Hardware 5 beyond that. But what really matters is are we improving the average safety on the road? But it is the cost and difficulty of retrofitting Hardware 3 with Hardware 4 is quite significant. So it would not be, I think, economically feasible to do so.
Thank you. The next question is for Zach. Zach, when do you think Tesla Insurance will become big enough revenue source to warrant providing more details in the financials of the business so investors can compare it to other insurance companies?
Yeah, I think it's probably going to take some time before this business is large enough for specific financial disclosures. But I'm happy to provide an update on where we stand in the business. So we're currently at a $300 million annual premium run rate as of the end of last year. We're growing 20% a quarter, so it's growing faster than the growth in our vehicle business. And in the states in which we're operating, on average, 17% of the customers in those states are using a Tesla insurance product. So, and that number continues to tick up as we spend more time in markets. And we see most of the adoption occurring when folks take delivery of a new car, as they're setting up insurance for the first time, as opposed to going back and switching when they already have insurance set up. So there's an inherent stickiness in the insurance business. But
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, just as a broader reminder on kind of the motivation for starting this business, it was to improve, and still is, to improve the total cost of ownership of our cars, given that we're seeing high premiums of insurance from third-party companies. And that remains our priority here. We'll obviously run this as a healthy business, but we want to make sure we keep our costs low and insurance stays affordable to our customers.
Yeah, and so there are two really important side benefits for Tesla insurance that are worth mentioning, one of which Zach alluded to, which is that just by Tesla offering insurance for our cars at a competitive rate, that makes the other car insurance companies offer better rates for Teslas. So it has a bigger effect than you'd think, because it improves total cost of ownership or insurance costs even when they don't use Tesla insurance, because now the Geicos of the world have to compete with Tesla and cannot charge outrageous insurance for Teslas. So it's great. So it has an amplified effect, very important. Then it is also giving us a good feedback loop into minimizing the cost of repair of Teslas for all Teslas worldwide. Because we obviously want to minimize the cost of repairing a Tesla if it's in a collision, and for Tesla insurance. And previously we didn't actually have good insight into that, because the other insurance companies would cover the cost, and actually the costs in some cases were unreasonably high. So we've actually adjusted the design of the car and made changes in the software of the car to minimize the cost of repair. Obviously minimize, the best repair is no repair. Avoid the accident entirely, which since every Tesla comes with the most advanced active safety in the world, whether or not you buy full self-driving, you still get the intelligence of full self-driving for active safety, active collision prevention. So it's giving us this really good feedback loop for, again, reducing total cost of ownership, and also just figuring out how to get, if somebody's car is in an accident. Most accidents are actually small. They're like, broken fender or scratched side of the car or something like that. They're not, that's the vast majority of accidents. But we're actually solving how to get somebody's car repaired very quickly and efficiently and back in their hands. And like I said, those improvements actually apply then to all cars. And like we're making, just to emphasize another key point, because some of these points might be lost, so I apologize for being repetitive, but it's remarkable how small changes in design of the bumper and improving obviously improving the logistics of providing spare parts needed for collision repair have an enormous effect on the repair cost. So if you're waiting for a part to get repaired and that part takes a month, now you've got a month of having to rent another car. It's extremely expensive, and of course you're missing the car that you love and actually want to drive. So this is actually a very significant effect on total cost of ownership and customer happiness.
Thank you. The next question from investors is CyberTruck production still on track for mid-year?
We do expect production to start, I don't know, maybe sometime this summer. But I always try to downplay the start of production, because the start of production is always very slow. But it increases exponentially, but it's always very slow at first. So I wouldn't put too much stock in start of production. It's kind of when does volume production actually happen, and that's next year.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's right, Elon. Like, just to emphasize on that, we've started installation of all the production equipment here in Giga, Texas. Castings, GA, general assembly, body shops. We built all our beta vehicles, some more coming still in the next months, but as you said, the ramp will really come 2024.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. And the last investor question is, with near infinite global demand for energy storage,
Yeah, seriously.
where should Tesla build the next megapack factories? How many are needed on each continent?
It's a good question. It's not something I think we'll provide an update about that in the future, but it's something we're thinking about very carefully. Really kind of like, what is the fastest path to 1,000 gigawatt hours a year of production? You'll see announcements come out later this year and next that answer that question.
Thank you. Okay, and now let's go to analyst questions. The first analyst question comes from Rod Lache from Wolfe Research. And Rod, feel free to unmute your mic.
I think I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Just firstly, it sounds like your 1.8 million unit volume indication for this year is somewhat more supply constrained and demand constrained. Then I have a follow-up on cost, but is that an accurate statement?
Well, okay. I mean, our internal production potential is actually closer to 2 million vehicles, but we're saying 1.8 because I don't know. There just always seems to be some friggin' force majeure thing that happens somewhere on Earth, and we don't control if there's like earthquakes, tsunamis, wars, pandemics, etc. So, if it's a smooth year, actually, without some big supply chain interruption or massive problem, we actually have the potential to do 2 million cars this year. We're not committing to that, but I'm just saying that's the potential. So, and I think there would be demand for that too.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. And on the cost side, the numbers that we just saw from you, as you pointed out, were weighed down by the 4860 ramp, the Berlin, Austin, gigacastings processes not at rate. Can you give us a bit of an indication of the headwind that you're absorbing from those things, like you did last quarter? And then lastly, on cost, do you think that we can tease out an interesting data point from on where battery costs are headed from this announcement that you just made last night? If I'm correct, it looks like the investment cost per kilowatt hour is less than half of what I've seen anywhere else, maybe $30 a kilowatt hour for that capacity.
I don't think we want to say the specific number, but it's interesting if you look at the size of Giga Nevada that is allocated to make 100 gigawatt hours is a small fraction of the size that currently makes about 35.
Yeah, I mean, the goals we outlaid at Battery Day on reducing the investment required to deploy cell manufacturing, I mean, that's been a key focus of ours, and the team is doing a good job hitting the marks on that focus.
Yeah, and it goes back to the point I was making, and I said this several years ago. I think Tesla's really the competitive strength that will be by far the hardest for other companies to replicate is Tesla being just damn good at manufacturing and having the most advanced manufacturing technology in the world. And if you've got that sort of advanced manufacturing toolbox, you can apply it to many things. And we're applying it now to battery cells. I should also say that we have other products in development. We're not going to announce them, obviously, but they're very exciting. And I think we'll blow people's minds when we reveal them. Tesla has the most exciting product roadmap of any company on Earth by a long shot, and we'll continue to, I think, be in that position. we got more great ideas than we know what to do with here. So the future is very exciting. As I said in the last call, there's going to be bumps along the way, and I think we'll probably have a pretty difficult recession this year. Probably, I hope not, but probably. And so one can't predict the short-term sort of stock value because when there's a recession and people panic in the stock market, then prices of stocks, both value of stocks can drop sometimes to surprisingly low levels. But long term, I am convinced that Tesla will be the most valuable company on earth.
Thank you. And I think, Zach, there was a question on cost headwind in Q4.
Yeah. Our weighted average COGS for the company, if you were to assume Austin and Berlin were at the cost structure of our other factories, it was on the order of 2,000 to 2,500 of headwinds. So I think from there you can back into margin impact of those factories as of end of Q4.
Thank you very much. And let's go to the next question from Pierre Ferragu from New Street Research. Pierre, please go ahead.
Thanks, Martin. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. Zach, I'd like to follow up on the data point you just gave on cost. If I look back at the COGS per car, you guys bottomed close to $36,000 in the middle of 2021. And then the number went up as you had to face with inflation in input cost and the ramp of Berlin and Texas. And this quarter, I think we are close to $40K, and we peaked maybe close to $42,000 at some point last year. And so my question from here is, how much time do you think it takes you to get back to this kind of 36K, which would mean, Berlin and Texas and like the input cost, all that stuff is normalizing. Is that and that would be like a kind of like a 10% decline in the COGS per car. Is that something we can hope to see this year, or is that too optimistic?
The Austin and Berlin ramp in efficiencies in 4680 will make a substantial amount of progress on that over the course of the year, and that's within Tesla's control. We're doing a lot of work on cost reduction outside of that. And we talked about supply chain costs, expedites logistics, attacking everything. On the raw materials and inflation side, where lithium is the large driver there, and this was a meaningful source of cost increase for us, we'll have to see where lithium prices go. And, we're not fully exposed to lithium prices, but I think in general, is what we've seen from our forecast here, cost per car of lithium in 2023 will be higher than 2022. So, that's a headwind that would have to be overcome to return back to those levels. So I don't think we'll get there this year, but I think we'll make progress. And we'll continue to find ways to offset these raw material costs that we don't have control over. And is there anything on that?
Yeah, like on the non-cells raw material, we begin to capture, benefits of indexes tapering off. But due to the length of various supply chains, it does take time before this is reflected in our financials. And while aluminum is down like 20% year over year, steel is about 30% down year over year. The global non-cells raw materials market continues to be influenced by geopolitical situations in Europe, high production costs due to labor cost increases and energy spikes, and disruptions due to natural disasters like typhoon in Korea 4 months ago, pandemic lockdowns. So we believe that meaningful price corrections will ultimately come, but it remains uncertain exactly when. In the meantime, we continue to redesign supply chain to make it more efficient and work with our supplier partners to find more efficiencies, streamline logistics and transportation to reduce costs.
Excellent, thank you. And I have a quick...
Sorry, you wanted to say something?
I was just going to say, we're also, our fleet is starting to mature, the 3Y fleet, and we're gathering a lot of data out of that fleet to understand how we can sort of bring some margin that we didn't know we had out of the product. So over the course of 2023 on the powertrain side, we're actually going to go after sort of some materials where we're paying for more performance than we need, or we have more content than we need without impacting reliability at all. And you know, that will actually add up to a pretty significant cost reduction on the powertrain side over the course of 2023. So we're not just sort of relying on supply, we're also doing design actions to bring cost out.
Yeah, and my guess is if there is if the recession is a serious one, and I think it probably will be, but I hope it isn't. That would lead to meaningful decreases in almost all of our input costs. So I would expect to see deflation in our input costs most likely, which would then lead to better margins. I'm just guessing here. So this is, but that would be my guess.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So as a quick follow-up, Elon, I was thinking about like FSD, and when you look at like the situation today compared to a year ago, it's like the progress has been like amazing in the quality of the product, but also its rollout. And so I was wondering, how much is this like impacting the take rate of FSD today? So do you already see that people are getting more excited by FSD because they see it around them on 400,000 cars and they see the value of the service already? Or is that too early to really see like to expect like an uptick in the take rate?
The trend is very strong towards use of FSD. And as you allude to, with each incremental improvement, the enthusiasm obviously increases. So, I think something that still a lot of people out there don't quite appreciate is that Tesla, I've always said like Tesla is as much a software company as a hardware company, but Tesla is really one of the world's leading AI companies. This is kind of a big deal, both AI on the software side and on the hardware side. With the hardware 3 inference computer, still the most efficient inference computer in the world, despite being at this point 5 years old from the design point. And with hardware 4 coming, and then hardware 5 beyond that, where there are significant leaps. The Dojo computer, we expect to be using that operationally at Tesla later this year. We're seeing just a lot of world-class AI talent join the company. There's also the long-term potential of Optimus, where we're able to use our expertise in electric motors and power electronics, batteries, and advanced manufacturing to be able to make a humanoid robot that is actually useful and can be made at high volume with exceptional capabilities because of the autopilot AI that where we take because the car is like a robot on 4 wheels and the Optimus is a robot on legs. But as we get closer and closer to solving real-world AI, and we don't see anyone even close to us in achieving this. The value. Pierre, I think you appreciate this, and a few others do, but most don't know what I'm talking about. So, but this is the thing that has order of magnitude potential market cap improvement for Tesla.
Thank you. And the next question comes from Alex Potter from Piper Sandler.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So quick one on FSD. This, I guess, for Zach. Obviously, you unlocked some deferred revenue in the quarter that'll translate presumably into higher margins on every incremental sale going forward, so long as people opt in for FSD. But was wondering if you're able to disclose the percentage of the $15,000 price that you're now going to be able to recognize as revenue up front rather than deferred.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we've structured this is a full self-driving package is two components. There's enhanced autopilot, the price of which is listed on the website. We fully recognize that. Then there's an incremental, which is for the additional features that full self-driving offers. And we've released a portion of that. And then there's a minority of the total package that's remaining that will be released over time as software updates are there. And in our shareholder letter, in addition to disclosing the dollar amount of the deferred revenue release, we also included in there the dollar value of the balance of unreleased deferred revenue that will be released over time with future software updates.
Okay, great. And then maybe one additional question here on the incremental capacity in Nevada, the 4680s that you're planning. It's a lot of batteries, obviously, and presumably you won't be putting all of those in Tesla Semi. So I guess two questions about that incremental capacity. First, is it correct to assume that all of those 4680s are going to be more or less fungible and usable in your entire range of products? And if the answer is yes, then if you had to guess, how do you think that 100 gigawatt hours would be allocated between your various end markets?
I don't know. This is a bit too much guessing at this point.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you're right. Not all of the 100 gigawatt hours are going to go into the semi trucks. That is correct. I mean, we can.
Let's say like we I alluded to a number of future products. Those future products would use the 4680.
Thank you. And the next question comes from George from Canaccord Research.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking my question. So you recently adjusted prices, and that may have put many of your competitors in the back foot. In addition to that, capital markets have recently gotten a lot tougher. So with those factors in mind, I'm curious how you see the current competitive landscape changing over the next few years, and who you see as your chief competitors 5 years from now.
Well, 5 years. 5 years is a long time. I was with the Tesla Autopilot AI team until late last night, and we're just asking. I was just like, so who do we think is close to Tesla for a general solution for self-driving, and we still don't even know really who would even be a distant second. So yeah, it really seems like we're. Right now, I don't think you could see second place with a telescope. So, or at least we can't. That won't last forever. So, in 5 years, I don't know. Probably somebody's figured it out. I don't think it's any of the car companies that we're aware of. But I'm just guessing that someone might figure it out eventually. Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, Elon, like in the vehicle space, even though the market's shrinking, we're growing, and EVs have doubled almost year over year. So like whoever keeps up with the trend of EVs is going to be our competitor. And the Chinese are scary. We always say that. But like. A lot of people always look at the EV market share, but we always look at it as how much of the total vehicle space do we have, and we're just going to keep growing in that space. There's 95% for us to go get.
Yeah, and I don't want to say like I think we have a lot of respect for the car companies in China. They are the most competitive in the world. That is our experience, and the Chinese market is the most competitive. They work the hardest and they work the smartest. So a lot of respect for the China car companies that we're competing against. So if I were to guess, it would probably be some company out of China is the most likely, to be second, to Tesla. But we are the Tesla China team is winning in China. and I think we actually are able to attract the best talent in China. So hopefully that continues. So yeah, super fired up about the future, and yeah, well, it's going to be great.
Just as a follow-up, the Inflation Reduction Act has created huge tax incentives for commercial vehicles. You mentioned an incredibly interesting product pipeline. Are there maybe some plans to accelerate commercial vehicle form factors outside of the Tesla Semi to help accelerate EV adoption?
Well, I was basically saying that, yes, but I'm not going to give you details because this is nice try. Yeah, of course. So, we have to always look at like what is the limiting factor for new vehicles, because if for the longest time we've been constrained on total cell, lithium-ion production output, and so people say like, why not bring this other car to market or that other car to market? Well, it doesn't really help if all you're doing is shuffling around the batteries from one car to another. In fact, it hurts because you add complexity, but you don't add incremental volume. So it's sort of pointless. In fact, counterproductive to add model complexity without solving the availability of lithium-ion batteries. So as we get we want a new product introduction to match where the cells are available for that new product to use those cells without cannibalizing the cells of the other cars. That's the actual limiting factor for new models, not anything else really.
Thank you. Let's go to the next question. The next question comes from William Stein from Truist.
Great. Thanks for taking my question. Elon, you started to answer this earlier, but I like to ask this question about the AI elements of your business and ask if you could comment on progress around Dojo and Optimus and your anticipation for the likelihood, for example, for the company to disconnect the GPU cluster in favor of Dojo and to have some market achievement in Optimus.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since we're still at the early stages, there are big error bars in any predictions. So it's like easy to predict the long term, but hard to predict the time in between now and then. But we think Dojo will be competitive with the NVIDIA H1 at the end of this year, and then hopefully surpass it next year. The key there is like I think what's the energy usage required for a given amount of if you're training a frame of video, what's the energy cost required to do that training? And we think probably we said this already actually at AI Day 2, so it's not new information, but we do see potential for an order of magnitude improvement relative to GPU, what GPUs can do for Dojo, which is obviously very specialized for AI training. It's hyper specialized for AI training. So wouldn't be great for other things, but it should be extremely good for AI training. So just like if you do an ASIC for something, it's going to be better than a CPU. This is sort of in some ways like a giant ASIC, and we're able to. Since we're operating one of the biggest GPU clusters in the world already, we've got a good sense of how efficient the GPU clusters operate and what Dojo needs to do in order to be competitive. But we think that it does have a fundamental architectural advantage because it's designed not to be the GPU is trying to do many things for many people. They're trying to do graphics, video games, It's doing crypto mining. It's doing a lot of things. We're just doing one thing, and that is training. And we're also optimizing the low-level software so that it at a very sort of bare metal level. So it's just insanely good at efficient training. And the intercommunication between the Dojo modules is extremely high. You're not going across an Ethernet cable. It's like, so anyway, we see a path to an order of magnitude improvement in the energy efficiency per given unit of training. But we also have to achieve that, and so like, when will it be achieved? It's hard to say, but we do see a path to get there. And then also in inference, like once you've got something trained, well, if you want to have a product, that's a consequence of that training, and that product may not be anything to do with cars, then the efficiency of inference is extremely important. And so we also have by far the most efficient inference computer with the FSD computer in the car. This has potential for products that aren't even really in automotive.
Thank you. William, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, it sounds like the 1.8 million units you expect this year is supply, not demand limited supply. It sounds like by the lithium batteries. If you were to become demand limited, can you talk to us about your propensity to use price, and your relatively high industry margins to grow units and share?
Yeah. To be clear, the 1.8 million is not self-supply limited. We did address that number earlier in the call. I don't know if you want to answer.
Yeah, it's roughly, a self-supply is roughly matched with that. And it's 1.8 million cars. If we get lucky, it could be more. And then the rest would go into stationary storage, the Powerwall and Megapack. True.
Okay, let's have the final question from Adam Jonas.
Hi, Elon. First question is it time for Tesla to significantly expand the captive FinCo? I mean, you only have like $4.5 billion of these receivables. It's basically nothing compared to other big auto companies. Then I have a follow-up.
Zach, maybe let's press to answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way that we've been using captive financing so far is to plug what we believe to be gaps in the market of existing third-party products. And so we have a couple of offerings in Europe. We do loans for our energy business, retail energy business here in the US. We do leasing, and we do a small amount of US loans that are very targeted. And so we're using captives to support market gaps, as I mentioned. So basically as a vehicle to support vehicle sales, make sure customers have access. I do think there's opportunity here to continue to grow this. We are growing it slowly here. It is a consumer of cash, so we're being cautious on how we do that. But the plumbing is in place to do a lot more here. And I think we'll have to see how things unfold over the course of the year and make decisions real time as to how much we ramp it up versus ramp it back.
I think if we see a severe recession this year, which, like I said, hopefully we don't. In severe recessions, cash is king big time because it's in such short supply. So we want to be cautious about using cash for loans and that sort of thing for cars. I feel we're in a very strong position to get through a recession because we really don't have any debt, and we've got over $20 billion of cash. which is great. Actually, the cash is earning a ridiculous return, not a good return. So it's like non-trivial. And the interest rate is actually means the 20 billion is earning like quite a good amount. And I've made this point on Twitter a few times, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call understand the basic value of a security is a function of the risk-free rate, or we'll see how risk-free it really is, but of the T-bill rate. So if you've got, I think if I recall correctly, the S&P 500 has a long-term rate of return of roughly 6%. And so I think the Fed needs to be very cautious about having a Fed rate that potentially exceeds 6%. If we see deflation, and I think we are seeing deflation, then you would add the deflation number to the in quotes risk-free rate from the Fed, and as that starts to exceed 6%, now you're starting to exceed the long-term return of the S&P 500, and it starts to become questionable as to why not just put your money in T-bills or a savings account essentially instead of in the S&P 500 if the S&P 500 is variable and the bank interest rate is not. This is so basically the Fed is at risk of crushing the value of all equities. This is quite a serious danger.
Thanks, Elon. And just a follow up. I don't want to steal thunder from March 1st down in Austin, but how close are we to that step change improvement in BOM cost, where you could sell an EV for under 25 or 30,000 bucks and actually generate a profit? That kind of real moving assembly line moment in manufacturing. Again, don't want to steal the thunder, but just if you wanted to kind of wrap up with thoughts there, that'd be helpful.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Elon.
I mean, I'd love to answer. If I were you, I'd probably be asking the same question, but we would be jumping the gun on future announcements.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, everyone, for all your good questions, and we will see you again in 3 months' time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was kind of quick.
We
how they
are back.
They kind of just wrap things up really quickly there.
Yeah, they
Thanks, bye.
Nipped it in the bud. I like it. Quick, easy. Overall, great. I think Elon said it well. Cash is king, especially right now. They have a ton of it. More like 22 billion of it. So that's huge for them. And it's kind of nice to have that as a little safety net because they don't have the debt. I think I saw something recently on Twitter. I think I even retweeted it. Every other car manufacturer has like combined like almost $500 billion in debt, which is a ton of debt. Every other car manufacturer has so much debt and Tesla doesn't. I think that's one thing investors kind of look over is they tend to compare Tesla to everybody else a lot. Oh, hold on, so real quick. They tend to compare Tesla to everybody else a lot, which is valid. Don't get me wrong. But at the same point, like, they don't really hit on the fact that Tesla has like no debt. So that's huge for Tesla. He did say, he almost kind of like leaked some new products, but he kind of pulled himself back a little bit. So can't wait to see something else. More CyberTruck news as we get closer to the summer. I imagine we'll be hearing a lot more about that. Maybe its own event kind of thing, because he said they're just wrapping up some of the final betas now, and then you're on to production.
It'd be nice to finally get the final specs on that, because
exactly
what came out, 4 years ago or whatever,
yeah,
3.5 years ago. It'd be interesting how much that's changed, because now we have competitors such as Rivian and Ford and Dodge and all these other ones are coming out with them. So it'd be interesting to see how the Cybertruck has changed from what we saw when we were at that Cybertruck event.
And is there going to be a change in price? There's so many what ifs. Long story short, I just want my Cybertruck.
Both of them.
Both of them, correct. But yeah, I guess that's it. Does anyone want to comment in chat? What did you guys like? What did you learn? We got to hear from Pierre. Love Pierre.
No none.
No nuns this time though, so I don't know what happened there. Yeah. Let's see. Diego said, did I miss the news that on YouTube award behind you? So that actually was a Christmas present. So a little backpedaling. It's not Tesla related. It's kind of just our personal life. So we have a 15-year-old that has been living with us this school year. Came in August.
An exchange student.
Exchange
not
student.
Not just some random.
Yeah, not just some like random kid off the streets. And that he actually got me for Christmas. So, yeah.
Very appropriate gift.
Great eye though, Diego. Great eye.
Somebody noticed it, yes.
Let's see. Jason said, I think they already said the price won't start at $40K for CyberTruck. And see, I'm not super surprised by that. If we've looked at what Ford and Rivian have done, they have all jumped up quite significantly. I guess the biggest thing is, how are they going to handle that? Are they going to give people that had already pre-ordered a slight discount, but maybe not the full price that we kind of reserved it at? Because our reservations were only $100. When I reserved my Rivian, it was $1,000, which is significantly more. And then they tried to up the price. Everyone started canceling, and then they were like, just kidding, you can go ahead and keep your original price. So that is why we took delivery of the Rivian. If they would have upped the price...
Second quarter 2022 Q&A webcast.
Sorry, for some reason my phone decided just to replay that. But if they would have not backtracked, I don't know if I would have gotten the Rivian.
Probably not with that huge price increase.
Because it was quite significant. So it's kind of interesting to see where Tesla's going to lie on that. I have a feeling they're going to kind of do what they've done before, is everyone's going to move to the new price book, but if you had it reserved previously, you'd get like maybe $2,000 off.
Yeah, that's kind of what we saw with the
the
2022 Model S as well, where we, the price went up, but we did get a discount since we had reserved so far in advance.
I can see them doing something like that to give it a little bit towards people who have done that, but not the full OEM proposed pricing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Food for thought. What else did we learn?
They didn't really talk about the supercharging network much.
They didn't, no.
And I think, this year is going to be even bigger. I mean, it continues to expand greatly, and I think in 2023 we're going to see more CCS charging in the United States at Tesla superchargers. We noticed in the app, or on Tesla's website actually, that one the site close to Hawthorne says it supports CCS charging up to 350, but it doesn't look like they've put the new hardware there yet. So it looks like that might be one of the first locations. So no mention of that at all. But if Tesla wants to get in on some of those government dollars, they're going to be having to add CCS charging. Maybe not to the existing superchargers, but they could build new ones that have those the ability for other cars to charge.
Yep.
So.
I think at the end of the day, here's where it's going to break out. Yes, more car companies will be able to start using Tesla superchargers. So we need to kind of embrace it, because EVs are good, and we just need to make sure and teach those people how to correctly use a supercharger and supercharger etiquette, because that is a big thing. Even Tesla owners are terrible at supercharger etiquette, to be honest. But I think
some of them are worse than others.
We have had some experiences, but I think that's going to be the challenge, is depending on where their plug is, we need to make sure that they're not taking up multiple stalls.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out for sure. Let's see. Abstract Ocean hit it earlier. I believe this is the first earnings call where we have stayed positive through the entire call, which is insane. And I just want to hit on that real quick. We are now up after hours, $6.37 at this time, up to $150.80. So I believe this is one of the first times we've ever been green the entire time. I need to tweet that. So if I'll tweet that real quick. So make sure you go like that tweet. Anything else? Jason said, issue with other non-Tesla EVs is they don't have preconditioning, so it can be painfully slow.
That's something we experienced ourselves when we were in Iceland on vacation, where we were driving.
We had
a
the
Tesla.
opposite though.
We had a Tesla, but we still couldn't precondition because we were going to non-Tesla locations, and so.
But haven't they changed that? So you can start preconditioning now?
I
thought they did.
I don't know, but
I thought someone from Iceland told us they
there are more
started
superchargers there now, so it's a little easier. But yeah, we had to deal with charging at like 38 kilowatts and gradually ramped up to 50. So yeah, that's something that non-Tesla cars would have. But hopefully they're going to do something. They're not going to have Magic Dock or the ability to use CCS at every single stall. Maybe they'll have some separate ones that are a little maybe bigger parking spaces and longer cables or something like that. We'll see. But if they put it on every single one, then that could cause a nightmare for Tesla owners if people are just parking perpendicular and all this stuff. So we'll see. I'm sure they've got something planned.
We love you too, Pierre. Different Pierre, but you know what? It still works.
Yeah.
Take it, own it. But yeah, otherwise, like, I think the path to a $25,000 Tesla is still there. Might take a little bit longer. They still have to do quite a lot of work from what I can see. I don't know how it feels inside Tesla in terms of getting cell costs down, which 4680 will greatly help with. And I don't know, would the $25,000 EV have just like 150-mile range and be more of an around town kind of car? Because to be honest, most people don't necessarily need 300. I mean, we've kind of looked at it for your mom's potential new car.
It'd be nice. Yeah, I know that Elon said long ago that they would have the minimum range would be like 240 or 200 miles, but I can definitely see that there's a market for cars that have smaller range, shorter.
Yeah, because most people don't really need that, so there's always a market for it. Let's see. Jason did say Cybertruck semi. Which, by the way, did you hear anytime the investors were talking about it, they said semi instead of semi?
I think that's what they said in Australia.
Just saying.
Some other countries as well.
Cybertruck semi Roadster production, then 25K EV. I would like Roadster to be bumped up on that list, just saying. Elon did say some of the new products coming on their product roadmap are going to blow everyone's mind. He's kind of always said that. But I'm getting very excited for the product roadmap. Hopefully at Investor Day on March 1st, we get some more deets about that. I do not know if we will be there. I went to the last investor meeting, which was a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. But I can't do a live stream there because it's just too much going on. And I kind of like this setting a little bit more. So if we don't end up going, we'll just live stream it kind of like this and be able to talk with you guys. I think that's kind of a little bit more fun anyway. But we'll see kind of what happens. But hopefully we can learn a lot more then. That seems maybe like a little bit more appropriate of a venue. Let's see. Sebex said $25,000 Tesla will face a lot of competition. Yeah. High school drivers would be perfect for the $25,000 car. Exactly. Jason said Roadster SpaceX package. Yes, please. Definitely going to be getting at least one of ours with the SpaceX package. Depends how much extra it's going to cost. But I really want mine to have that. We'll see. Diego said, I hope they start tours again soon. Would love to go.
Yeah, it's been a while since we went to a while.
Yeah, hopefully they can start that up, and hopefully they can start doing them up in like Austin too. I know it's an expense, but it is kind of nice because a lot of investors can go, and anytime you can have a car owner go, it's really nice. Let's see. John said, if you live in New Zealand, Hawaii, or Puerto Rico, you do not need long range, and in Hawaii or Puerto Rico, it does not get cold. Valid. I have kind of like briefly spoken over Twitter with Tesla rental in Hawaii, and I was just looking at it like kind of the other day and was like, wow, you don't really necessarily need a lot of range because it is small. So I think a cheaper, not huge range version would be perfect for those parts. Definitely. Jason said, do you have a free one from referrals? Right, hopefully you can add options like the SpaceX package. Well, I mean, because of all our supporters, much like you guys, we actually earned like 4. So huge shout out to anyone who used our referral code. They do have some prizes and stuff now, but I haven't been pushing referral codes. I'm more here to entertain and educate than get referrals kind of thing. Let's see. Amy said you cannot have standard range in Montana. Yes.
Winter.
Cold locations definitely
and
doesn't work.
Longer distances. Yeah.
You bet.
It's a big state.
Yep. Let's see. Any idea why they are not selling a Model 3 long range? Wait, what? What? I don't really look at the Model 3 page too much. Oh. Oh.
Oh, well, that's something else we didn't talk about. The rumored Model 3 refresh. There was no talk of that, and we know that, they did mention that something's coming soon, but maybe sooner than we think.
That's interesting. That's an interesting find.
It was leaked. What was the project name? I forget, but it's called Project or whatever. But
you can only get a rear-wheel drive, or you can get a dual-motor performance. Okay, so I have a question. Is this something that Tesla is trying to push performance more than the long range because people are going to be able to get $7,500 off of that?
Yeah, it's because of the price, because that's right below the limit.
Could they just be temporarily suspending the long range to try to sell more performances and rear-wheel drives? So like rear-wheel drive is your lower price? But I mean, look at the rear-wheel drive. After you factor in $7,500 off of that, you're almost at a $35K Tesla.
Well,
that's actually pretty impressive for 272 miles. Just saying. Great find, Diego. I'm gonna look into this. I'll see what I can find out. Let's see. Jason said you can't order a new one, but off inventory you can order one. S-Buck said 4680 Model 3, maybe. Jason said it's been like that since September or so.
Oh, so it's not just recent with the price.
So my guess would be they're trying to just push maybe performance.
But
more.
also it's like, or maybe the Y. I mean,
let's look at that.
The Y is a lot more versatile. It's almost the same length, and it gets them more dollars, so they can make a few $1,000s more.
Yeah.
On your Y, and you get the range that way.
I wish though for the Model Y performance, they could make it 55,000 and make that like 1,900, like an after, after you buy the vehicle, you can unlock the performance for 1,900.
Yeah.
Because we're looking at Model Ys, we're going kind of through that whole process, and when we're looking at it, I actually found some that were like $55,490. But because it's $490 above $55,000, you can't get $7,500 tax credit, which is stupid. So I think they should come up with a tricky way to spin that. Let's see. Ian said numbers look great, but media will spin it negatively. Nothing for Tesla to worry, but look ahead. Agree. The media is always, the media is always going to find a way to spin things, and especially when it comes to Tesla, they always love to spin negative hit pieces on Tesla, on Elon. They'll just add Tesla's name to anything EV related, even if all they just say is it's like kind of competition for Tesla or whatever. They will throw that in the headline because that's what gets the clicks, that's what gets the feedback and everything. Let's see. John said more factories make the Y than the 3. True, valid. Diego said, I thought it took it off the website just this month when the credit started. I'll email some people and see. But as Seb Buck said, a better margin on the Y. But Elon said the Y actually costs a little bit more for them to make.
But they charge more.
They charge more, true. So yeah, probably. But overall, it was kind of a call with everything we kind of expected. Didn't really learn too much, but it was still good to hear everything reiterated. But no nuns this time, so that was kind of disappointing. It's always kind of fun. Amy said, not Tesla specific, but have you heard about what Wyoming is doing, trying to make EV illegal or something like that? Yeah, stupid. It's crazy.
Why can't we all just get along?
I know, seriously. Yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. We'll go ahead and end it there. Huge thanks to everyone for hanging out. I know a lot of people have been sending messages on all different platforms asking how everything's going, making sure we're okay. We've just been a little busy, but everything's gonna start kind of coming along back in order, and we're gonna get back into the groove of it and continue moving forward. All things aside though, huge thanks to our channel sponsor, Abstract Ocean. Is it not gonna show? There we go. I was waiting for it right here. If you haven't already, definitely check them out. I have all kinds of cool, useful accessories for model SX3, Y, and now Rivian. So definitely check them out. All kinds of really cool stuff. And using code Tesla Inventory will get you 15% off of your first purchase.
And welcome.
Yeah. And then we'll see you guys like next week. I don't know how to end this anymore, so we're just gonna sit here and
I'll just
an
walk
awkward silent. Yeah, we're just gonna awkward silent walk away.